Oh, just like that. No flashes upstairs, just like that. Or at the back. Beautiful. No worries, guys. There we go. So this is that typical hoi hoi flow. You can see it going down now, of course. As most of you can probably feel the heat already. Yeah, I assume anyways. Now, you can actually see this lava is incredibly fluid as well. Just like this. Doesn't take much for me to help it along. But of course, at this stage as well, you can do something called Pele's hair. Now, these form in nature when lava goes off the edge of a cliff or mountainside, and they get picked up by the wind. You can see just how delicate they are as well. Just like this, if I hold it a few seconds, it cools off very quickly and becomes extremely brittle. These are the ones you've got to be careful of, as they are just as sharp as needles, really. So Pele is a Hawaiian goddess of volcanoes, so it's named after her. But of course, here in Iceland, we have no Hawaiian gods, so they were called Nortenhau, or witch's hair, which I guess is quite fitting as well. So there we go, so do one more maybe. You can see the lava is already starting to settle, so we've got to move quickly with it. Okay, with that, let's put some ice on top of the lava, see what happens. Got a block here. And how about just this? Obviously an instant reaction going through. A lot of that steam is going to be forced inside of the lava. You can see it swelling in places. And then in other places it's finding escape routes coming out of the bubbles that you see there. So this is kind of like what's happening in nature when you have a glacial effect. So if you have a glacier on top, there's a lot of pressure being trapped underneath and it's trying to find ways up, especially after the steam starts exploding and you get the lava mixed in with it. Of course, this is just on a much smaller scale. But what this scale is really good at showing is that even bubbles like this, just tiny bubbles, that's not me, there you go. But yes, you do get this amazing insulation effect. So just like that, you can still pull this hot lava out from underneath because it's being insulated so well. Just like that. Maybe the better way to show it is up here on the channel. You can see that while the channel is solidifying, it's not quite solid like the ice area. We still get to do this. As you can see, it is very malleable. The inside is still incredibly hot. It's so fluid that it's basically just moving as you see here. But as I said, it's solidifying on the outside. So now that I've disturbed it, it's going to solidify even more. So when I let go, just like this in a few seconds, you're going to see it pretty well, keeps its shape as well. Pretty good. See if I can get it to stick back. There we go. Now, you can leave that there. It's going to settle down perfectly. Okay. Coming down here as well, we've got this really nice, very smooth skin on top there. That's on top, of course. Wow. It's not showing the underside still. So the underside is, of course, still incredibly hot. Still able to make the Pele's hair, maybe. There we go. Areas like this, you can also see that the steam is coming out as well. So when that steam comes out, you get the bubblation effect like that. Basically kind of making lava balloons there. Okay. Just like this. Now, the more I mix it again, oh, that's a good one. Don't get that often, I can assure you on that. The more I move it, the more I disturb it, it's getting thicker because it's cooling down more. It's definitely not Pele's hair anymore. It's very much like a taffy or a toffee, some people say. And it is incredibly heavy at this point. As you can probably tell from my exasperated breath, yeah. So, one more time up. It's incredibly hot to stand next to it as well. Okay, so, let's see if we can get this off. Usually. Hardest part about the job, I can assure you on that. Okay, maybe not, we'll leave it for a sec. A little weird lollipop, we'll leave that, no worries. Put it in the Tetra to cool down a little bit more. Leave that there. This is why we have a backup stick, no problem at all. But for now I do not need it because the lava on the metal slide is cooling down rapidly. Because that steel is conducting the heat out, cools down quicker, it'll start to contract, and then it builds up a pressure. When that pressure is released in the forms of cracks and fissures, well, I don't know about you guys, but if you've ever had lava down the back of your shirt, it's not fun, no.
So I put these safety grates up just to protect myself from any spits of lava. Oh, there we go. One more. Yes, if you work with lava, you do not need a gym membership, don't worry. It's basically hot yoga. There we go. Right, you guys. Now, these safety grates are on. The downward area is losing energy, so it's getting darker. So let's turn the lights up a little bit. Okay. This is a pretty good point to actually show the temperature as well. So why don't we go where the ice was? The coolest part of the lava. Okay, a nice cool 450 degrees Celsius, 842 Fahrenheit. So still pretty hot indeed. Any of these areas, like inside of the bubbles, are going to be the hottest areas. A nice, what was that, 726 degrees Celsius, 1,339 Fahrenheit. So it's still pretty hot, but of course, yeah, thermometers are one thing. I prefer paper. It's a lot easier to see just how hot the lava truly is. Doesn't take long for that paper to ignite, of course. So, with that, backup stick, alright. Going down here, we're obviously seeing the difference. It is solidifying extremely quickly. You can also hear the difference. What does that sound like? Glass, exactly. So with that, of course, it is actually turning into a volcanic glass. Has anybody heard of a volcanic glass before? Shout it out. Gideon, you guys play Minecraft? No? That's fine. Minecraft is probably the most well-known use of obsidian. Level Portal, all of that. Or maybe for some people, they watch Game of Thrones and they call it dragon glass. It's quite a media frenzy around this volcanic glass, but it's one type of volcanic glass from one type of lava. This is basalt lava. It is cooling down rapidly. It's actually becoming a volcanic glass called tachyon. It's a little bit harder to say, so don't worry. If you go home and say, I saw obsidian at the lava show, I'm not going to blame you. You're the one that's lying. That's fine with me. But yes, we are getting a volcanic glass because the lava is cooling down rapidly. So it's binding onto the silica, which is most abundant in lava, and therefore making an unstructured, very weak material, the volcanic glass. But of course, it's just the way it cools down. This tephra, this lava, and this basalt columns, it's all the same material, it's just cooled down in different ways. Now, coming up here, back to the insulation. Up here on this specific bit, we definitely get a noise there, as we've got different shape. There's actually ripples along the lava. That's where the outside has solidified, the inside was still nice and hot, it carried on flowing. So it actually drags that top layer along with it, and then you get these ripples forming, and it's called ropey pohoihoi. Back to that pohoihoi flow, but now it's ropey. And with that, of course, it's basically just showing the insulation on the outside, but let's show you how that insulation affects the inside. Now, okay, that's a good piece. I think that shows it pretty well. You can see the inside is still incredibly hot. It is glowing hot. If you see it glowing hot like this, it is over 600 degrees Celsius. Incredibly hot. So when lava goes below 600 degrees, it starts to lose the energy. It doesn't have the energy anymore to emit that visible light. So it just starts to fade away. And you'll see that throughout the show, and it really does do that. There we go. So we can put these pieces down here. You're going to see how they fade away during the show. Pretty slowly, but still for lava, it's actually pretty rapidly as well. But the end puddle will remain hottest for longest. So, we can flip this one. We'll have to come back to this piece, as it's not going to work with me just yet. There we go, one more. Perfect. So now, again, just a little bit more light at the front. Let's see if there's anything hiding in the darkness there. You can hear my slide is really cracking at this point. But of course, there's the Pele's hair, first of all. From the beginning, of course, these Pele's have completely solidified, completely cool as well. But these are the incredibly sharp pieces. You see there, it's kind of hard to show, but yep, even in the light, you can see, nice and brittle, of course. They break very, very easily. And they do form these very chaotic shapes as well, as they cool. So just like these ones, kind of like really weird shapes, kind of like lava art. I'll sell them for 10,000 krona. Anyways, so they will be everywhere, and they do form absolutely differently every single show, which is cool. But down here, of course, we had these lovely big bubbles earlier, like these plated ones here. They're pretty thick bubbles. They make the good glass noise. Now, the very thin bubbles down here, you're not going to get that kind of noise, but of course they're extremely thin. So when you grab them and do this, there you go. This is what we call lava glitter. This does happen in nature as well. That's gone all over my hair. I'm going to be in bed tonight and it's going to be everywhere, but that's fine. So these pieces do go everywhere in nature as well. And it just shows how thin lava can really get. But while we wait for that end piece to cool, let's turn the lights up a little. I've been talking too much. Let's give you guys an opportunity. Does anybody have any questions so far? That is a very old ringtone. I love it. Okay. Anybody?
How do you clean this place?
How do we clean it? Very good. Not tonight. Stefan's actually gone home now. Lucky for him. So one of the melters will be back in the morning at 5 a.m. Yeah, that's when their shift starts. And they're going to come in here. By morning, most of this is going to be actually quite broken. But all they need to do is start shoveling it out with a pitchfork. They take all of the lava from the show, around about 100 kilos in total. They take it to the backstage, they put it back inside the furnace. We remelt and reuse it over and over again. And we do not lose any mass, except for the extremely, extremely pretty pieces that go to the gift store. That is the only mass loss we have. But in the furnace, we don't lose anything, so we can use it over and over again. Good question to start with. Any others? Yeah. This okay, so the ramp is a mild steel, basically used in the steel industry for metal slides when you're pouring molten metals like aluminium, etc. as well. Here, this is stainless steel, a little bit higher melting point, so both of these won't melt, but you saw, especially in this one, that one's getting incredibly hot because the metal's a conductor. And over time, they get slightly damaged, especially the slide. It basically warps in the heat and then cracks open. So Stefan's also a great welder, so that's a good thing. Any other questions?